Welcome to another episode of Sports Perspective. I'm Hayden Grove.
And I'm Franz. Hayden, the streak is finally over. Urban Meyer is finally lost in the regular season at Ohio State.
That's right, Franz. 25 consecutive regular season wins all came crashing down for the Buckeyes on Saturday night at the hands of the Virginia Tech Hokies. I was there to see just what happened and how Meyer's streak came to an end. While the Buckeyes have experienced a new quarterback and even a new tunnel here in 2014, they experienced another new feeling on Saturday night following their 35-21 loss to the Virginia Tech Hokies, a regular season defeat under head coach Urban Meyer.
It's very disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
Disappointed, you know, I don't know, coaches don't get surprised, you get disappointed, and obviously we just got to work a little harder, and I still have confidence we have enough skill on this football team to get by people.
Under the bright new lights of Ohio Stadium, and with a few special visitors stopping by to take in the action, the Buckeyes made too many mistakes to come away with the victory in front of a record crowd in the Horseshoe on Saturday. The reasons for their woes started, but did not end, with an offensive line that permitted just 187 yards on the ground and allowed 7 sacks on the evening.
You know, we have to just do a better job. I know that sounds redundant or coach speak, but I'm not sure what else you say. They're certainly not going to say, okay, you know, the quarterback's a product of the offensive line. We also had some drop passes. We had all kinds of issues that we have to get a lot better at.
The sloppy play of their own linemen certainly didn't go unnoticed, but both Meyer and offensive coordinator Tom Herman credited Virginia Tech in their cover zero scheme as much as they discredited their own guys.
That coach does a nice job. That was zero man most of the game. And they put your corners on islands and we didn't expose it. And then, you know, we miss a couple protections and you're on our back.
Yeah, up front they were playing a double eagle, so they were covering our center and both guards, basically playing cover zero behind it.
Tough to run against.
Yeah, I mean it's damn near impossible, and so we had to find some ways to get to the speed option game, and we did that there in the second half. Got a little momentum back on our side.
Be it the product of poor offensive line play or the jitters of playing at Ohio Stadium, quarterback J.T. Barrett struggled mightily through the air against Virginia Tech, completing just 9 of his 29 pass attempts for 219 yards and 3 interceptions. Despite those numbers, Meyer called Barrett's performance a gutsy one.
A gutsy effort by our quarterback, absolutely, you know, obviously not good enough, but a quarterback's a product of those around him, and we all have to get better.
Defensively, the Buckeyes were not much better, especially on third down. Despite being in third and long opportunities for what seemed like most of the evening, the Hokies were able to convert 9 of their 17 third down attempts, ultimately allowing them to stay on the field and to wear the Buckeye defense even more thin.
I mean, I don't know that I've ever remember having as many third and longs and not making them anywhere I've been, anywhere I've coached. And that's something we're really going to have to look at.
I mean, that's something you never want as a defense, is you get them to third and long and then they convert it. But, you know, it's just something we got to tighten up. We got to look at what we're doing, see where we can make corrections. You know, put it on everybody to do their responsibility.
Even with their problems on third down, the Buckeye defenders did force 3 turnovers, but overall the feeling was that they didn't play well enough when it mattered most.
As a whole team, we all didn't play good when we needed to play good. Like, we had spurts where we did good, but it just wasn't at the time when we needed it.
I know we didn't do some things well. You know, shifting, motioning, formations got us a little bit. So we just got to be able to recognize those.
Now at 1-1 on the season, the Buckeyes have their work cut out for them, but everyone seems to be staring at the same goal heading into the rest of the schedule, 11-1.
You know, Coach Meyer's message to the team afterwards was, you know, we can still accomplish what we want to accomplish at 11-1, and so, you know, we just got to, you know, tighten down the bolts a little bit.
Coach Meyer got us all going and let us know that 11-1 is not bad. So, I mean, we just got to come back hungry next week.
You know, you can't let this loss get in the way of preparing for future games. We got to keep rolling, you know, because we can make a positive thing out of this.
The Buckeyes will look to rebound right here at Ohio Stadium next Saturday as they take on the Kent State Golden Flashes at noon. Until then, for the Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove. While he and the Buckeyes were downtrodden following the loss to Virginia Tech, Coach Meyer spoke with the media again on Monday, and after looking at the film, it was apparent that the Buckeyes may not have been prepared for what the Hokies were bringing. The Buckeyes have lost their first regular season game under head coach Urban Meyer, and following a couple of looks at Saturday's film, the reason for the defeat seems to be pointing towards one overbearing factor: Ohio State's lack of preparation for Virginia Tech's cover zero defensive scheme.
Hours upon hours of game planning, including in the spring, we started looking at Virginia Tech, and they, just completely played bare zero, which was, a high-risk defense, but obviously it worked.
An unfamiliar feeling amidst the Urban Meyer era seemed to be the result of an unfamiliar defensive scheme from Virginia Tech, as Meyer admitted to the media that the Buckeyes prepared for the 4-3 defensive front and were left looking to adjust to a defense loaded with Hokies on the line of scrimmage.
That's the first time I've seen that kind of defense in maybe my coaching career, where it was, they were all 6 yards the start of the game, and I remember on the headsets I was looking and I said, wow, I've never seen them do that. That's why the second play of the game we took a shot down the field and almost got it, and then we had a couple PIs, but it was forced into a one-on-one game.
We understand if a defense lines up a certain way that they're designed to take away the run game, so they have to be patient in that respect. And actually it's a compliment to what we've done here in the past in the run game.
With the Hokie defense playing to stop the run, Meyer was hoping that a couple of his receivers would make the plays necessary with one-on-one coverage on the outsides, something that did not occur enough, according to the coach.
You have to make someone pay a price and come up with some of those catches. Dontre made a couple, one ridiculous catch where you have to do that. And we have to execute, get the ball to them, and protect. So one thing is just the execution of the, when they're going to play zero coverage, you got to make those shots. We haven't had a lot of that.
It wasn't just the Ohio State offense that needed to make adjustments, however. The defense that allowed 21 first-half points had to adjust as well, with the Hokie offense putting together more unfamiliar looks.
There were a lot of unknowns going into that game. They had played one game against William and Mary. What they did in that game was a little bit different than what they did last season. Actually, it was quite a bit different than what they had done last season. And Saturday night, to be honest with you, what we had seen against William and Mary is not what we got Saturday night either. So it was a constant game of adjustments, and there were certain things that we weren't sure we could do because we weren't sure what they were going to do yet. So there are some other things that we can do, especially on third down, or will do on third down, moving forward, when we get a better feel what an opponent's going to do.
With Virginia Tech in the rearview mirror, Meyer already sees another opponent who can play the Buckeyes in much the same way that the Hokies did.
I don't know if people have the personnel. I know one of them does. The team that won the Big Ten last year does. I don't know if that's risky stuff.
Drayton thinks no matter who the opponent, the Buckeyes will be ready the next time they face the cover zero.
There was another way that was exposed that threw a roadblock in our way, and now we could prepare for that for the future. So we just you take that and you grow from it, and you learn from it, and educate your players. The next time we see that, we'll definitely be prepared for that.
All in all, another week of preparation begins, and the Buckeyes are holding their heads high as they look towards the rest of the season schedule.
You put your heart and your mind in that of a 19-year-old, everything's right still there. So, and I see that in their look. They're all hurting, and they'll take our lead and take my lead, and I'm still hurting, so we'll be ready by tonight, get it out of our system and go.
The Buckeyes will face the Golden Flashes of Kent State this Saturday at Ohio Stadium, and Meyer and company will hope to be more prepared this time around. Until then, for the Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove.
Before Coach Meyer led the Buckeyes into battle against Virginia Tech on Saturday, he was a mere spectator at St. John Arena as his daughter Gigi and the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles came to Columbus for a women's volleyball tournament with Ohio State. Our assistant sports director Aaron Yarian was at the tournament to check out the Lady Buckeyes in action.
Over the weekend, the Ohio State women's volleyball team returned to St. John Arena after heading out west to Oregon. The Buckeyes improved their season record to 4 wins and 2 losses after sweeping Auburn in 3 sets and defeating both Florida Gulf Coast and Southern Illinois 3 sets to 1.
Your 2014 Sport Imports DCKO Tournament champions, Ohio State.
All tournament team honors were given to junior outside hitter Elizabeth Campbell for leading the team in hitting percentage with .405, sophomore middle blocker Taylor Sandbothy for her 34 kills, and freshman outside hitter Louisa Shermer.
A big congratulations to Louisa Shermer.
Shermer was also awarded the tournament's most outstanding player after an impressive weekend totaling 29 kills, 31 digs, and 5 blocks. Following the tournament, Sandbothy had this to say about the team's progress.
Going off of the Oregon tournament, we didn't play as well as we really wanted to, And so getting a home court advantage, I think, really helped us lean in on what we really needed to do and focus on those kinds of things. And we're still a pretty young team. Having leadership coming from the younger players is a huge part of what makes us work.
Up next for the Buckeyes, they head to Cincinnati on Friday to take part in the Millennium Hotel Invitational, where they will face Syracuse, Ohio, and Xavier. That's your women's volleyball update. For Lantern TV, I'm Aaron Yerian.
Well, the volleyball team is back in action this weekend, as are plenty of other sports around Ohio State. On Friday, the women's volleyball team starts their weekend by taking on the Syracuse Orange in Cincinnati at 4 p.m. Then the women's soccer team heads to Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers at 7. And finally, the women's field hockey team takes on the Ohio Bobcats at 7 in Athens. On Saturday, the women's volleyball team is back in action, this time with a doubleheader against Ohio University at 10, before closing the day against Xavier at 7 p.m. Men's and women's cross country are also in action on Saturday as they head to Lexington, Kentucky for the Kentucky Bluegrass Invitational. And on Sunday, the men's soccer team takes on Northwestern at 1 from the Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium, as women's soccer stays in Indiana to take on Purdue from West Lafayette at 3 o'clock. Meanwhile, the women's field hockey team takes on another team from the Hoosier State as they take on the Ball State Cardinals at 3 p.m. in Columbus. Well, Franz, as we end another episode of Sports Perspective, there's a lot of news that came out Monday, and it was headlined by Ray Rice, his suspension from the NFL following the video that came out. What did you make of the matter?
Well, the NFL saved face after the video came out. They've indefinitely suspended him. The Ravens then released him. But the question is, did the NFL know about the video when they made the initial 2-game suspension? If they did, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell could be on the hot seat.
I think Roger Goodell is definitely in a predicament either way on this one. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this episode of Sports Perspective. Be sure to tune in next week as we give you all of your Ohio State athletic news. Until then, for Franz Ross and the entire crew here at the Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove.